Sullivan on page number 38. Second. C. Listen carefully on page number 38. I felt approaching footsteps. I stretched out my hand as I supposed it was my mother. Someone took it and I was caught up and held close in the arms of her who had come to reveal all things to me and more than all things else to love me. The morning after my teacher came, she led me into her room and gave me a doll. The little blind children of Perkins Institution had sent it and Laura Guzman had dressed it, but I did not know this until afterward. When I played with a little while, Miss Sullivan slowly spelled into my hand the word DOLL. I was at once interested in this finger play and tried to imitate it. When I finally succeeded in making the letters correctly, I was flushed with childish pleasure and pride. Running downstairs to my mother, I held up my hand and made the letter for doll. I did not know that I was spelling a word or even that words existed. I was simply making my finger go in monkey-like imitation. In the days that followed, I learned to spell in this uncomprehending way a great many words, among them pin, hat, cup, and a few words like sit, stand, and walk. But my teacher had been with me several weeks before I understood that everything has a meaning. One day while I was playing with my new doll, Miss Solomon put my big rhyme doll into my lap also, spelled DOLL, and tried to make me understand that DOLL applied to both. Earlier in the day we had a puzzle over the words mug and otter. Miss Solomon had tried to impress it upon me that mug is mug and otter is otter, but I persisted in confounding the two. In despair, she had dropped the subject for the time, only to renew it at the first opportunity. I became impatient at her repeated attempts and seizing a new doll, I dashed it upon the floor. I was keenly delighted when I felt the fragments of the broken doll in my feet. Neither sorrow nor regret followed my passionate outburst. I had not loved the doll. In the still, dark world in which I lived, there was no strong sentiment or tenderness. I felt my teacher sweeping to one side of the earth, and I had a sense of satisfaction that cause of my discomfort was removed. She brought me my hat, and I knew I was going out into the warm sunshine. This thought, if a worldless sensation may be called a thought, made me hope and skip with pleasure. This is the passage. Now I explain it about. So Helen felt approaching footstep, and she stretched out her hand. She supposed the it was my mother's hand, and some took it. Then she was caught up and held close in the arms of her, and so all things else to love her. Now the morning after her teacher came, she took her room and gave her a doll. The little blind children at Perkins Institution, they sent the doll, and Laura Bridgman had dressed the doll. Now when Helen played with a little while, Her teacher slowly spelled into her hand the word DOLL, and she was interested at once in this finger play and tried to imitate it. And in this way, then she tried again and again. Then, running down to her mother, she held up her hand and made the letters for doll. So, she did not know about it, but she was simply making her fingers go in monkey-like imitation, and in this way, she wrote the word. As well as then, she did not know, but she made another words, pin, hat, cup, and a few verbs like sit, stand, and walk also. Then her teacher with him several weeks, and she understood that everything has a name. Means everything has a name. Then one day, while Helen playing with new doll, her teacher put big red doll into her lap and spelled DOLL, and she understand DOLL applied to both. So then they early in the days they had we had a puzzle over the words mug and water. Her teacher had tried to impress it that mug is mug and water is water, means these are two things, not one. And so she persisted in confounding the two. So then she had dropped the subject for the time. Then she became impatient at her repeated attempts and seizing the new doll. Helen dashed it upon the floor, and she was keenly delighted when she felt the pieces of the broken doll at her feet. At that time, she neither sorrow nor regret followed her passionate outburst. So she had not loved the doll. In the still, dark world in which she lived, there was no strong sentiment or tenderness, and her teacher, Helen felt her teacher sweep the fragments to one side of the hearth, and I had a sense of satisfaction that there is a cause of my discomfort was removed. So, in this way, this thought, if a wordless session may be called a thought, and made her hope and skip with pleasure.